Welcome to chapter 2, variables and data type. So in this chapter, we'll talk about what is variable, what is data type, and so many other things. First of all, I want to tell you, you don't have to worry about all the nodes and all the programs. So I will send you all these programs. Just send me one email on this address, that python.training32@gmail.com, and you will receive all the nodes and all the codes. So you can see here that I prepared all the codes for you. So you will receive all these codes, and you can see here that all those codes. So I will share all these things with you. So just send me one email. Okay, so let's go back to our chapter, which is variables and data types. So what is variable? So variable in a program language describes a place to store information such as number, text, list, etc. Right? So what is variable? So variable is a name given to a memory location in a program. Isn't this statement little bit sound scary? So let me make it easy. So whenever you write like a is equal to 30 in a programming language, so a variable is created, which means a works as a container which contains 30. Let me create a program and show it to you, and I will create a program. So you see here a program, you can write like this. So I have created like this, like a is equal to Gaurav, b is equal to 678, and c is equal to 67.67, right? So Gaurav is a name. When I write b is equal to 345, b contains 345. So what is b? So b is a number, and if I write c is equal to 45.32, so C contains 45.32, or C is equal to 67.67, B is equal to 678, A is equal to Gaurav. So all these, what is this? So A is equal to Gaurav is a string, B is equal to 678, it is an integer, and C is equal to 67.67, this is a floating number, right? Why this is floating number? Because it contains a decimal. So this is a different kind of number. Now a question may pop up in your mind, that how Python will know that it has stored a number, it has stored a floating number, it has stored an integer, it has stored a string, right? So like Gaurav is a string, and this 678 is an integer, this 67.67 is a floating point number, right? So whenever you write a is equal to Gaurav in any program language, so a becomes a container which contains this. It can be number, a name, or anything it can store in a. Now pay attention on my words. If I write a is equal to Gaurav, so Python automatically identifies it as a string, literal, because of double quote, right? So literal means it is a string by default, and Gaurav is by default a string because it is written in a double quote. 678 is written without double quotes, so it means it is an integer, right? And c is equal to 67.67, so it is float by default. So we have created three kinds of variable, and then let's talk about data type. So what is data type? So data type, it is a type just like a string type variable. B is an integer type container. For example, if you go to your kitchen, then you will find some container. Your mom has put pulses and rice in containers. Salt and pepper may be in different containers. Water will be stored in bottle. It is not like that you have put pulses in water bottle. Yes, you can store pulses in a water bottle, but you do not usually that. So different kind of containers have different roles. Same as that, Python programming language contains data type. So data types means type of a container. So for example, Gaurav is a string, 678 is an integer, 67.67 is a float. So now back to notes. So if you read, so variable is a name given to a memory location in a program. It means if I write a is equal to 30, B is equal to Harry, and C is equal to 71.22. So A, B, C are all kind of variables. So again, what is variable? So they are containers to store value. And what are keywords? So keywords are the reserved words in the Python. So you should not use those keywords in Python for any kinds of variable. If you use these keywords for creating variable, then first of all, it may show you the error, or your program may broke, right? So what are the keywords? Keywords are the reserved words in the Python. So let me give you one example, like def is the keyword. We'll see it later why we use this keyword. And then what is class? So class is a different kind of keyword which is being used for oriented programming in Python. And like this, there are many keywords in Python and they are reserved. And when you will search for reserved keywords in Python in Google, you will find the reserved keywords, right? So you can see that these are the reserved keywords, like if, import, def, all these are the keywords reserved. You should not use them for creating the variable, and these keywords are not recommended for creating the variable. If you create a variable with their name, so it might break the program, and that program may not function properly. That is why we avoid them using in our program. So again, let's move back to our node. Now let's talk about data type. So as I have told you that type of container is referred as data type. We have lots of data type in Python. So primarily we talk about only 5 as a beginner. So you can see that first data type is integer. So it may be 1, 5, 7, 9, -1, -7, -8. So these are all integers, same as math. So we are talking about the same integer. Then we have floating number. It means number which contain decimal. Any number like 8.3, 2.9, 9.7, 2.8, 8.9, 8.22, any number which has decimal, that is called the floating point number. Then we have strings. So what are strings? So strings are the collection of characters and closed in single quote or the double quote. And if I want string in Python, so double quote is not necessary. I can use single quote as well. So whenever I add a single quote or double quote, that thing is a string. So for example, if I write here A is equal to Gaurav, right? And if I print A, you will see that Gaurav is printed. But if I write here with single quote, then again my output is Gaurav. But suppose I write like this, Gaurav is a good engineer, right? Suppose I like something like, okay? And if I put here suppose double, and if I run this, you will see there is a syntax error, right? So if we have double quotes in our line, then we have to use 3 triple quotes, right? Or you can say we have to use 3 single quotes, 1, 2, 3, and here also 1, 2, and now you can run this. You can see Gaurav is a good engineer. So this way you can run your program. In addition to that, you can also write a multi-line like this, right? Even then you can run this program. You can see that we have multi-line. Right? So again, there is another way to write a string in a Python. You can also add that string in triple single quotes. If you remember that, we have studied that triple single quotes are used for comments. So if something enclosed in triple quotes, so it will be referred to as comments. But if you write A is equal to Gaurav in triple quotes, then it will be a string. But if you write just like this, no triple quotes, I mean no A, then so this is a comment, right? It will not run. You see here, it will not run, right? So if I write A is equal to Gaurav in triple single quote, then it will be string. If I write without A, then it will be a comment. So we have learned 3 methods to write string: single quote, double quote, triple single. Back to note. The fourth one is boolean. So boolean means either true or false. So if I said something, either it is true or false, nothing in between. There is nothing like half wrong or half right. Either it is all true or it is all false. So boolean is the same in the Python programming language. Either it is true or false. If I write like this, 3 is greater than 5. So it will be a false, right? It can't be true. Anything can be either true or false. So if we ever want to deal in 2 values, then we can use boolean. So let me show you a boolean variable. So let me create D. Suppose D is equal to false. So now if I print D, you can see the output is false, right? And if I write here true, and if I run it, you can see the output is true. So the boolean can be either true or false, nothing in between. Then the fifth data type is none. Okay, so now what is none? So if you ever want to display nothing in Python, let's suppose if I want to choose none from true, false, and none, which is neither true nor false, which means it is unverified. I'm giving a use case. None can be used anywhere. None is used to display nothing. Nothing is being called none in Python. So if you ever want to display nothing, so it is none. Suppose I want to write like D is equal to none. In that case, if I execute this, you will see print D, you will see a none, right? So none function will be displayed. So when the function returns nothing, so it displays that as none. So none has been defined a literal which denotes nothing. So if you ever want to display nothing, so you can denote it as none. So let's move to notes again. So you can see here that Python is a fantastic language that automatically identifies the type of data for us, right? So if you made A is equal to 71, then it automatically identifies that A is a class int class. If you ever made B is like 88.44, so it will automatically identify its type and stamp it as a float. If you write name is equal to Harry or name is equal to any word, then it will automatically display as a string. So let me tell you how you can check that whether it is a string, integer, or a float. Let's go. So as you know that here you can see that A is equal to Gaurav and A is a string. So if you want to see the type, then you can type like that and write like print type A. And if you execute it, you will see class string, right? If you want to see that 678, you want to see the class of this, you can type here B or copy here. So B is equal to 678. So if you want to see the class of B, then you can write here like this, and you can write here class B, and you will see here that it is a int, right? And if you want to see the class of C, it will be float. Then just write here C, and you will see class is float, right? So this way you can find out the class of any number or any int. So now in Python, everything is an object of classes. Now you will be confused what is class, what is object. For now, I will ask you to ignore the word class. We'll learn about this later. So ignore it just for now. So look like class str means it is an object of string type. What does object mean? It is a variable of string type. Just understand this for now. We'll deep dive into classes and objects later. So now if I run the same thing for B, so it won't be string, but it will be an integer. If I run for C, it will be a float. And if I run for D, it will be a nothing, right? So you can see here, if I run for D, you will see none, right? And if I put here true, suppose, and if I run again, you will see it is a boolean class, right? So D is true and D is the boolean class. So I can use type function in Python. I can just simply print the type of any variable. So I hope this is crystal clear to you and you understand what I told. As I told you, Python automatically identifies the type of variable. For example, 81 is an integer, 67.67 is a floating number, and Gaurav is a string. So it smells automatically. Actually, it doesn't smell, but there are some rules following which interpreter work behind us. So you don't have to be tense about that. Just understand that if you write A is equal to Gaurav in Python, so there is no need for you to tell it is a string. It is responsibility of Python to identify its type. Now something very important. So as I told you, Python automatically identifies the type of variable. So it smells automatic. Actually it doesn't smell, but there are some rules following which interpreter work behind us. You don't have to be tensed about that. Just understand that if you write A is equal to 71 in Python, so there is no need for you to tell it is an integer. It is responsibility of Python to identify its type. So now something very important. Can you select any name of the variable? So if I choose like A is equal to Gaurav, right? And it is executing. You can see A is equal to Gaurav. Can I write like here 1A? Can I write here 1A? You can see it's already turning red. So VS Code told this before me. Python extension has told first that there is something wrong here. First fix it, right? So let's suppose I run this without fixing it. Suppose I run it. You can see there is a syntax error. So what it is saying? It is invalid syntax. It is saying you have made a mistake. So you will say you didn't make a mistake. You will just give it a name. But tell me something. I want to ask you a question. Answer this question in comments. Have you ever heard a name of human with a number? Have you heard a name of a human being starting with a number? Have you heard a name of a human with like 2795 Rahul, 2756 Shahrukh? Have you heard of it? Or is there something whose name is like 5692? Can you come here for lunch? How will it sound? Quite weird. It may not sound weird to someone, but there is a general rule for naming humans in our society, and there is this rule. There is no one's name will start with number. Have you ever seen a man with a name at the rate in it? No one. So same like that, there are some rules for naming. And let me tell you these rules. I have written here the rules for naming a variable. Going back to notes, you can see here that a variable can contain alphabet, digits, and underscore, right? A variable can start with an alphabet and underscore. So it can start only with alphabet and underscore, nothing else. A variable name can't start with a digit. So it can't be 1 Rahul, 2 Salman, 3 Amir, nothing else. No white spaces is allowed to be used inside a variable name. So you can't create a variable like this bb space, then it will show you error. You can see that it is an error, right? So but you can put some underscore between, then there is no error. Or you can start with an underscore. Like this you can create your variables. So these are the rules of variables, and examples of few variables are like Harry 187 underscore 7, etc. So these are the rules of the variable. But I want to tell you one thing, that we should optimize our variable as well. So variable should as descriptive as possible. It means when you read your code, you should know right away what your variable is and what kind of data it is storing. You should be able to understand. So if you write like this, like A is equal to happy, if you write B is equal to 32, C is equal to red, right? Yes, this code will run. There will not be any problem. But if you read this code after 1 year or 1 month, then you may not know what is this. So the code should be descriptive as well. right? So if you write like this, like mood is equal to happy, you can see that like age is equal to 30. You can write like color is equal to red, right? So it is descriptive. So I want to say that please write a code as descriptive as possible, because in future it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, so these are the rules to create variables Python program, and these are the optimization we should use in the variable creation. Next, move to identifier. So what is identifier? So identifier is a name of class, function or variable. I will tell you later about class and function, so leave this topic for later. I just told you that identifier is either class, function or variable. We are only familiar with variable name right now. I don't want you to be confused by telling you more about class and function. So now what we will do, we'll look for some example with the name of the variables. I want to point out one more thing here. Suppose if I write A is equal to Gaurav, and if I write A is equal to Gaurav, or if I write A is equal to Rashmi, then if I print A, you can see the Gaurav is printed. If I write print capital A, then you can write, see that Rashmi is printed. So it means, so what does it mean? It means the variable names are case sensitive, which means if you have made a variable with uppercase and second with lowercase, so they will be considered as two different variables. They won't be considered same variables. Let me exit this because I just want to tell you this, and I have not added this in notes, but I think I should have added. So I will add if I got time, and I will update the notes. But I think that's fine. I told you this through video. So now let's talk about operators in Python. If I talk about operators, so let's talk about some common operator in, there are four type of common operators in Python. One is arithmetic operators, assignment operators, comparison operators, and the logical operator. And as I told you, you don't have to worry about the codes. The codes will be shared with you, right? You don't have to write any notes, and these notes will be also shared with you. So codes and notes both will be shared with you. So for example, if I write A is equal to B is equal to 4, and if I write here that the value of 3 plus 4 is 3 plus, right? So if I run this code, you will see here that the value of 3 plus 4 is 7. So the value of 3 plus 4 will be printed. This whole text that I have selected in a string. By the way, I can print as many things as I want by adding just the comma, right? I can put as, I can write here that the value of Gaurav is, the value of Rahul is. So I can put anything in this double quote before the comma. As you know that this 3 plus 4 will be printed after evaluation, because it is not enclosed with the double quote. So it is not a string and it is an expression, and expression get evaluated, and 3 plus 4 will result in 7. The value of 3 plus 4 is 7 will be output. So this was a arithmetic operator, and we can use any arithmetic operator like 3 minus 4. So in case of Python, instead of multiply, we use the star, okay, and 3 divided by 4. Okay, so by the way, I will provide all the programs, PDF, zip files, and practice set. You will get them all. Just give me an email and you know my email, right? So don't be tense about it. Be with me in this course and enjoy, and you don't even need to write these notes. These are all for you. I will provide you, and your job is to print them. Enjoy this course, and I hope this course will become very enjoyable for you. So we are talking about arithmetic operators, and we have shown you all the arithmetic operators like plus, minus, multiply, and divide, right? So now let's talk about the assignment operator. So what are the assignment operators? It can be equal to, plus equal to, minus equal to, etc. There is a, suppose if I write A is equal to 30, so A will contain 34. Now if I want to write 2 in it, I will write plus equal to, right? I will write plus equal to, and if I run this, you will see the output will be 46. You can see the output will be 46, right? So this line of code will change A to 46, right? So look at the output will be 36. Let me show you. So it is a shortcut for addition. If I write A is equal to 34, and then I write A plus equal to 12. And if I write A minus, then it will subtract, right? If I write like this, it will subtract, right? 34 minus 12 is 22. So it is just a shortcut for minus and plus. Similarly, you can write multiplication also. So if I write here, then 34 multiplied by 12 will come, right? It is 408. If I write divide, you can see 34 divided by 12 will come, which will be 2.833, and so on, right? So this way you can get. So why I get 2.8333? Because when I divided 34 by 12, I got the floating point value, right? This is 2.83. So in Python program, when you divide, you will got a floating number. Okay, so these were the assignment operators. Now what does comparison operator do? So they compare the two entities and tell us if this is true or false. For example, if I write comparison operator here, okay, so if I write b is equal to 14 greater than 7, so yes, 14 is greater than 7, then output will be true. You will see the output will be true, right? If I write 14 less than 7, 14 is not less than 7, then it means output will be false. And what are the other operators we can see? We can see equal to equal to. So if I put here like 14 equal to, so is 14 equal to 7? No, then output will be false. You can see our output is false. So if I write 14 not equal to, then output will be true, right? You can see here your output will be true. Okay. If I put here greater than equal to, you will see output is true because yes, it is greater than. If I put less than equal to, you will see the output will be false because it is neither greater nor equal to 7, right? So these are our comparison operators: equal to, greater than, lesser than, greater than equal to, lesser than, not equal to, right? So these are our comparison operators. So there are many other operators and you don't have to memorize all these operators. Okay, so now let's move to the logical operators. Let's see what are the logical operators. So we have three logical operators. One is and, one is or, and one is not. So what is the definition of logical operators? So if I go to Google and if I show you logical operators, right? If I see here, if I go to images, you see what are logical operators. So if I go to this picture, you can see what are the logical operators. So if A is true, B is true, then A and B is true. And what is A or B? That is also true. And what is not A? That is false. It is opposite of. If we have A is equal to true and B is equal to false, then A and B will be false. But A or B will be true. And opposite of A is false. False, true, same, false, true, and true. And false, false is always false for A and B and A or B, and not A will be true. Okay, so these are the logical operators. Okay, so let's talk about logical operators in Python. And again, as I told you, you don't have to worry about these things, right? You don't have to write anything. All these programs will be shared with you. All the notes, all the quizzes, every PDF will be shared with you. So you don't have to write anything in your notebook. Okay, let's see logical operators in the Python programming. So suppose if I write boolean 1 is true, boolean 2 is false. So what will be boolean 1 and boolean 2? Let's see. If I run this output, it will be false because true and false will be false. Let's run this. You can see that the value of boolean 1 and boolean 2 is false, right? What is the value of boolean or boolean 2? It will be true because true plus false is true. And what will the value of not boolean 2? It will be true because it is always opposite of that value. Okay, so we may have more logical operators, but mostly we use only three logical operators: and, or, and, not. I hope this thing is clear to you, and I hope you understood the logical operators. Now we'll talk about typecasting and type functioning. So what is typecasting and type function and why we use it? So pay attention to my words. I already have told you that variables are like containers. When we created our first file, we learned that if we are creating an integer, so if we write a is equal to 591, b is equal to 346, and it automatically get detected as an integer. Okay, so let's go to the Python programming. So suppose if I write a is equal to like this 3540 in the quotes, and if I want to run the type of a or print the type of a, then you will see the type of a will be string. If I don't put anything here, then you will see there will be an error. But if I write a is equal to 35, then you will see that a is an integer. If I write here 35.5, it will be a floating number. Right? So this we have already learned. So now what is typecasting? Suppose a is equal to 35.6, right? And this is a floating number. But I want to save it as an integer. Can I do that? Yes, I can do that by if I write like a is equal to integer a. If I write a is equal to int a, and then if I print the type of a, you will see it will be the int. So this is what we do in the typecasting, and typecasting was made to do this. So again, if I put here like 35.6, a is equal to 35.6 in the quotes, then this will be a what you call, so this will be a string, right? So you can see a is equal to string. But if I convert a into an int, so if I write a is equal to 35 in double quotes, then it will be a string. Let me show you. So if I run this, you will see that it will be a string str. But if I convert this into integer, then it will be a integer, right? So this is called the typecasting. Okay, let's talk about our next function, which is input function. So what does input function do? So input function allows the user to take input from the keyboard as a string. So let's go to the Python programming and let's see how it works. Suppose I write input enter a number. You can write anything, that enter a name, enter a thing, anything you can write, right? It's just for our enter a ttt, anything you can write here. So if I write a is equal to input enter a ttt, right? And if I run this command, you will see that it is asking enter a ttt, right? Even if I run this like 67, you will see the class. You will see here the class is string. Okay, the class is string. So one thing to note here, that the output of input function is always a string. Okay, all output of input function is always a string. But if you want to convert into an integer, it will be converted into integer with the help of typecast if possible. So if I write here like this, a is equal to integer a, then you will see if I put here like this, you will see if I put here number 62, 67, then you will see here class will be int. But this command will run only if possible. Suppose if you write here like this, enter a ttt, you will write here like Gaurav. If I write Gaurav, you will see this command is invalid. So this print type a or a is equal to integer a will work only if possible. If it is not possible, it will not work. Okay, so this is all about variables and data types. Let's jump to our practice set. Okay, so let's jump to our practice set. So let's talk about the question. So the question is, first question is, write a Python program to add two numbers. Let's talk about this program. So I have already made it. So addition of two numbers. You can see that if I write here a is equal to 30, b is equal to 15, then I can write here print the sum of a and b is. This sum of a and b is, this is just for my understanding, right? I can write here anything. The sum of a and b is, sum of a and c is. I can write anything here, right? I don't have to write here sum. I can write s is, right? I can write anything. This string is just for my understanding, right? So if I run this command, you will see that the sum of a and b is 45, right? If I change it into 37 or 56, you will see the s of a and b is 71. If I write here the t, you can see the output will be same. It will not matter, right? I can write anything here, right? If I write here the sum, so whatever I write in the double quotes, it doesn't matter, right? So this is the first question, that addition of two numbers, right? So this way you can write. So just give the number 1, number 2, and just print this sum by with the help of a plus b. Okay, and the second question is, write a Python program to find remainder when a number is divided by z. So let's talk about remainder. For remainder, we have to use this percentage function, or it is also called modulus function. So a percentage b, this is the modulus function. So if I give two numbers, suppose a is equal to, suppose 45 and b is equal to 15, and if I run this command, you will see the remainder is 0 because 45 is divisible by 50. If I write here like 459 divided by 15, you will see the remainder is 9. So again, you have to give one number like a and then second variable b, and then the print the remainder of a is when divided by b is a percentage b. Okay, just remember this function a percentage b to get the remainder. Then the third question is that check the type of variable assigned using a input. So this one is a small question. We don't have to go to the file every time. As I told earlier that we can use the PowerShell as well when we need an immediate solution, right? I have shown you the PowerShell before. So here just you have to write the Python and then you just have to give the numbers. So if I give number a is equal to 87 and then I print a, you will see the 87, right? If I put a is equal to input, enter a number, so it will ask me the number. If I put here 78, you will see the number. And if I want to print the type of a, you can see it will be a string, right? And if I want, so the question was check the type of variable assigned using input flow. I have put a input, enter a number. I put a number 78 and I got it that it is a string. But as you know that 78 is not a string, but the output of input function is always a string. But if you want to convert it into, then you can convert a into an integer. So a is equal to int a, right? So as you know, the output of input function is always string, but 78, as you know, is an integer. So you want to convert this string into the integer. So for that, you have to convert into an integer with the help of this int a. So if I put any number 78 and then type a, then it will be integer, right? So again, the input function always produces string, but if you want to convert string into input, you have to use this int a, and then it will be converted into integer. Okay, let's see the next question. Use comparison operators to find out whether a given variable a is greater than b or not. Take a is equal to 34 and b is equal to 8. Okay, let's see. A is equal to 34, b is equal to 8. So if I write a is equal to 34 and if I write b is equal to 80, and if I write a greater than b, then you will see it's a false state, right? So this will be a false, right? So a is not greater than b, right? So with the help of this PowerShell, we can use to find out whether a is greater than b or not. Okay. So the next question is, write a Python program to find average of two numbers entered by the user. Okay, I have already made this program. So you can see a, you can find, so you can see here a is equal to input enter first number, b is equal to input enter second number, right? So if I run this command, you will see if I enter first number 4, if I enter second number 7, you will see, wow, there is a syntax error. Because why this is syntax error? Because the output of input function is always string, and you can't take the average of a string. So first of all, you have to convert the input function into an integer. Only then you can run this command. Okay, so again you have to first convert this into an integer, right? So now if I run this again, you can see 7, 8. You can see the average of a and b is now 7.5. Why? Because I have converted a into an integer with the help of this int function. I have converted b into an integer with the help of b function, and then I write average is equal to a plus b bracket divided by 2. Bracket is very important, otherwise program will first divide b by 2 and then add it to a, so it will not be an average, right? So a plus b is very important. You can see here input function is always a string, right? str, right? So be careful, always convert input function into an integer if you want to work with the numbers or the integers, right? So again output will be 7.5 because this is the average of two numbers. So let's talk about next question. So the next question is, write a Python program to calculate square of a number entered by the user. Okay, so for that, as you know that square is like a multiplied by a, b multiplied by b, 5 multiplied by 5 is 25, 6 multiplied by 6 36. So it's just a square. So for that we just need one number. So I just write here a is equal to input enter your first number, right? And as you know the output of input is string, so I have to convert that string into the integer, right? Class int, right? I have to go, and as you know the formula of square is a multiplied by a, and for multiplication in Python, we have to use this function star, and I write the print the square of a is sq, right? And if I run this command, you will see if I write 9, you see the output is 8. Okay friends, so this is all about data and variables. I hope you have liked this video. Please subscribe to my channel and please give your valuable comments in the comment box, and also please send me your email if you want all these notes and all the code. As you know, my email address is python.training32@gmail.com. Thank you.